Hello everybody, it's Aaran back from Screenstars, and I'm here once again to do another review for Geek Legion of Doom. And today I'm here to review the 2020 found footage horror film The Last 5 Days. And this film is co-written and directed by Moffatt, who also stars in the film. Now, like I said, this is a found footage film that focuses on two film students who decide for a project on their film class. Before they can pass this class, they have to do a project, so they decide to investigate, if you like, paranormal events. So they go to this place that is supposedly some strange things have been happening. They find some strange fruit. They do some investigating, and they find out that supposedly anybody that eats this fruit will become possessed. So guess what? One of them eats the fruit, and as you can imagine, from there the film begins to escalate and escalate to its natural found footage conclusion. So that's the basic premise of the film that we're talking about here. Now, what are my thoughts on The Last 5 Days? Well, anybody that knows me, either on my channel Screenstars or even on this channel Geek Legion of Doom, I have reviewed a number of found footage films here, will know that I'm a big fan of found footage films. It's probably my favourite genre in horror. I just think if found footage is done right, they can be really, really effective. Now the question is this one done right? Well, they kind of follow the rules of found footage here with this film, but it's so by the numbers that it doesn't stand out in any way, shape or form. In my opinion, it's very, very low budget. That much is very, very clear. It's a good attempt. It's a decent idea. It's quite a simple idea. You don't need to overcomplicate a found footage story. It is quite a simple idea. I just think the execution is a little bit lackluster here for this film. It's essentially just these two film students throughout the whole film, apart from a sequence at the beginning with the police announcing something, and at the end same thing. So for the most part it's just these two film students filming each other, and that is okay sometimes, but I didn't feel as though the chemistry was brilliant between these two characters. And the one that eats the fruit, who is supposed to become possessed from eating this fruit, I don't know, for me it just didn't work. It didn't feel frightening, the transformation that was taking place. It didn't feel intense enough. A good found footage film should start off, fairly by the numbers, give you a reason for them to be filming, which they give here. That's fair enough. Build up the lore and the feel of the film, expand the world, start building the tension, because most found footage films, there's not an awful lot will happen throughout the period of the film. There'll be an odd scare here and there, and then boom, there should be an intense last 15-20 minutes or beyond of the film to really leave the viewer on a high. I don't feel as though you get that with this film. What you kind of get here is a baseline all the way through it, and it never spikes in scares and things like that. I didn't find it scary at all, and I think I found it really kind of just plodded along to its pretty predictable end, and that's again something that I think many people would be able to point the finger at this film. It was just predictable. It was a very, very predictable found footage film, and not impactful enough, and certainly not scary enough. And it's full of a few inconsistencies as well. And there's also other things that just don't work. For example, one of the film students, the one who hasn't taken the fruit, finds it's getting a little bit too intense where they're living, so he spends the night at a hotel. Now, does he spend that night in the hotel to make good use of it? No, because he comes back the following day saying that he's been at a hotel, and then he starts researching while he's back at the house, even though he's in full-on possession mode at this time, his friend. Now, to me, if you were going to spend a night in a hotel, you do your research there in peace and come back with a plan. And that wasn't the case. He came back knowing he needed to help, but he hadn't researched while he was at the hotel. He did it when he got back. The last 15-20 minutes or so of the film as well, it's filmed through like a cracked lens, as the camera gets broken, I suppose. So that's distracting as well, in regards to looking through this cracked lens for the last 15 minutes of the film or so. It didn't help, I don't think. And also, it also didn't feel realistic, because this camera, they made a big thing at the beginning of the film that it was a really nice camera that had been lent to them by the film studies class, if you like, to film what they were going to be filming. And then when it gets broken near the end, there's, you know, the guy is not concerned about it at all, or worried that, you know, he's going to get in trouble for this camera being broken. I know he's got other things on his mind at that point in the film, but still, it's so, I feel as though it was something that was worth mentioning. So it's a pretty bog standard found footage film, very, very low budget, an half decent attempt, but there's just too much. It's too lackluster for me. It's not scary critically, and it doesn't finish with a real bang at the end of it, which I think you really need in a good found footage film. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. A decent attempt, but unfortunately it just falls below average, I think, this one. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the review. Don't forget to call back on Geek Legion Doom for more reviews very soon.